Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Vegvar, and alongside me, as always, my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you today?
You doing good, my good sir? How about
Yeah,
you? Everything is peachy on this dreary day.
it is very dreary out here.
Dreary.
I mean, we're still in fake spring, or not fake spring, second or
Lousy
third
smarch
winter.
weather.
Yeah,
Lousy smarch weather.
yeah, it just won't quit. But you know what? It's okay. We got some really exciting games and stuff on the horizon. Lots to keep us busy and indoors. So, I mean, can we really complain?
Nope, I will never complain about having to play video games, except when
That's true.
it's First Berserker, because that game literally broke my brain, and
Yeah.
I'm in trauma healing right now. I have to speak to a therapist about it. But,
Well, I mean, there are things that we can complain about. I mean, we will start doing our some complaining here on this episode. But I mean, we still have a lot of fun things to talk about as well, and we appreciate everyone out there for taking the time to listen in. It's going to be a very exciting month for the Creature Cast. I mean, we are getting ready to cover the Switch 2. A lot of big stuff coming up on the horizon. We're also going to be doing a sweet retrospective series on the original Switch. A piece of hardware that you and I both love to different degrees. It's been a long-winded 7 years, 7-year journey with the original Switch.
geez.
So we thought, hey, why not go back in time, step into a little bit of a time machine, step into the DeLorean a little bit, and
Sorry.
take a wild trip down memory lane and talk about it over the course of a few episodes. We're going to do that. That's going to be on the horizon. But before we get to any of that fun stuff, you were talking about, unpacking all the trauma. We have to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order debacle that has happened in Canada this past week. For a little debrief for people who might not be in Canada or may not even be aware of what happened in the country. Pre-orders after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which we covered in last week's episode. You guys can go check that out. A lot of great conversations there. Nintendo announced, hey, we're going to be putting out the pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 in originally, worldwide on April 8th, I believe. No, April 9th, sorry. April 9th. And originally it was supposed to break here in Canada around noon. We also had Walmart Canada was going to do a midnight launch, bringing back the great season midnight launch excitement and everything. And what ended up happening was that, yes, in the US, they pulled pre-orders due to the tariff disputes and stuff like that. And we thought we got away unscathed. We're like, finally, Canada gets a W here. We are maintaining the April 9th pre-order date until, boom, April 8th. Nope, Nintendo decided to pull that one as well. Blindsiding everyone, blindsiding what felt like retailers, consumers, everyone. Strangely enough, and I want to hear your opinions on this. This is what I'm going to throw to you first, Bobby. None of this came from Nintendo. This was all through, independent reporting. I'll give a huge shout out to Brad from Mobile Syrup for breaking the news about the Nintendo Switch pre-orders being delayed in Canada. But retailers had to do it on their own, but nothing came from like Nintendo's own channels. How do you feel about all that?
I feel it's very weird, but at the same time, given, I don't want to say it's a fluid situation because it's really not. It's basic. This is just basically a big scam from the US. But no, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel like what happened was respectful of people who are excited to pre-order the system, right? So like you have, and I can tell you right now, I saw people online like they took the day off to sit in front of a computer and try and pre-order this console, and they wasted a day because Trump's trying to be a big shot when he's really just a big baby in a blue suit. And I don't know. I feel like overall very disrespectful. You can't just do that hours before the thing's about to go live on the internet. Right? It was basically like, I feel like 6 hours before midnight, and everyone's like, nope, delayed.
I mean, it was like midday when we started getting confirmation and everything. It was really unfortunate because yeah, obviously a lot of people are looking forward to it. There was a lot of generated excitement coming out of the
Yeah.
Nintendo 2 Direct from last week, and yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people. We talked about it last week that a lot of people had issues with the pricing and everything. But that being said, I did see a lot of social engagement, for pre-orders coming up, despite the price. I thought a lot of people did find the launch assortment of games to be very tantalizing and stuff like that. So it felt like they had like a lot of forward moving momentum coming out of the direct. So to kind of uh, cut it off at its knees felt really disappointing for consumers and just for from
Everybody, I feel it wasn't just consumers, like, and you know what? I don't know. And just sorry, I know you're saying forward momentum. I don't know. I don't feel like it was a forward momentum. The pricing was a big talking point. It
Of
still is a
course.
talking point.
Yeah.
People, I feel like it was a good reveal for the hardware, but everything else kind of fell short. And there was a lot of unclear messaging, and I feel like, if you're going to release, such a highly anticipated console, you should probably be clear about your messaging. We saw that with the Xbox One. We saw that with the PlayStation, the 5 Pro.
Mhm.
Like, if you're not clear with your messaging and your pricing up front, like, people will just lose interest. And I already know people who are just skipping out because, let's be real, it's a $700 console in Canada,
Yep.
or you're getting just the console, no game, and it's like, well, yeah, no, there's got to be a little bit of understanding from Nintendo. I feel like, this is not just a console everyone can afford, not like
Of
it
course.
was like 8 years ago whenever this thing was announced, the Switch. That's kind of where I'm. So I'm disappointed in that front, but like, I love the hardware. I did like what we saw. It was just
Mhm.
like, and I'm not talking about the average consumer, because you and I are not the average consumer.
We're
I
not.
mean, we're
Definitely not.
getting it regardless. I want it. It's just, if one of my family members who have young kids, they have to choose between putting food on the table or getting a
That's
Switch
the
too.
big
It's like,
thing.
well,
Absolutely. That's what it all comes down
whereas
to.
yeah, and whereas like you could buy a Switch Lite for like $300 years ago, or the Switch for whatever it was. It was like 429, 499, whatever it was. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's like these. I know things are getting more expensive, but and this is just like a sociological problem. It's just like, wages are not going up. We're not getting paid as much as the inflation's raising. So I don't know. It's a very complex topic. We don't have
It
to
is.
discuss today. It's just, yeah, as someone looking in with family members who will want one, I already know what they've said, and they're going to skip it until it's either a little bit more cheaper, or they can, find a way to trade in their console and get a fair amount for it back. But I don't see that happening. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I completely agree with you. I think that yeah, the conversation of inflation and inflated goods and stuff like that totally not within our wheelhouse, not for these two chuckleheads, but
no.
in terms of just analyzing the Nintendo Switch, yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly that unfortunately a lot of people are going to be priced out of one of their beloved hobbies this year. So I'm very interested to see what Nintendo does, because as of still the time of recording, Nintendo has not come out with an official statement of what they're going to do now, given the fluctuating tariff situation in the U.S. I know that now there have been multiple reports of Nintendo having already shipped millions of Switch 2 consoles to the US from Vietnam, where they manufacture it. So I really do wonder what this is going to mean for stock come June when the Switch 2 launches, as well as what it means for orders far beyond, like leading into the holidays and stuff like that. But yeah, we still don't know when a new pre-order date will arrive in the US or Canada. I'm hoping that it's sometime soon, sooner than later. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's going to be very difficult for Nintendo to start talking about Mario Kart World next week at their direct if they still haven't addressed the elephant in the room of availability. So we'll
I,
see.
I mean, I there are reports available today. I've seen them online. I haven't reported about it because I haven't looked into it too much. I probably will after this, but Nintendo, Apple, Samsung. I've seen reports of all these companies stockpiling stuff in the U.S.
Of
because of the
course.
tariffs, and rightfully so. Like, I feel if this whole tug of war keeps happening, people are going to have to either pay the tariff prices or hope that their favorite company, took some proactive measurements to bring, consoles or phones or computers, whatever, onto this and onto either U.S. or Canadian soil just to get it primed and ready. And like it's gonna be, I don't know, an uphill battle. I'm gonna call it. I feel like in Canada at least I feel like we're safe. The U.S. is probably gonna be safe for pre-order in terms of pre-orders. Like I don't feel like it's gonna be like a PS5 issue or even the Switch. I know the Switch had like windows where it was unavailable, but I mean, this is Nintendo. I feel like they definitely took some measures to make sure that there's enough consoles to go around. You'll get it on launch day regardless.
Yeah, I think launch is pretty safe. I know that shipments of the Switch started coming in by January, so I feel like for the time being we're looking pretty good, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, if you are like worried about going to the store, like even your local Best Buy or whatever, and you can't find it, that's not going to be the case. Even like a week or two after, I feel like we're going to be. It's okay. What I'm more concerned about is just like, how is the software going to be? Like, are we going to be having issues with like, are people buying the software launch? Like, are they just buying the console? Like, are we going to have like discussions about how good the software is? Because like, I've actually known a couple people who when the Switch came out, they were in college, they were just coming out of college, they only bought the console, and like they just couldn't afford the games for their first couple of months.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's different times and all that, and like obviously that's more expensive, but like it's something. I think I did that once when I was buying my first PlayStation 3. I had the console for like a month. I just played free games,
watching movies on it,
and watch movies.
Yeah,
but it's just stuff like that. It's like it's gonna be a successful launch either way. It has to be, because if it doesn't, Nintendo is really screwed on this. But there's no way this is going to fail. There's no way the pre-orders are going to be an issue. I feel like it's just the talking points that we've already discussed, like price of games, price of peripherals, price of entry, like the camera, like all these small little things. It's like, okay, cool. What's my total tally going to be if I want a camera, an extra pair of Joy-Cons, one game, because everyone's probably only going to be able to afford, Mario Kart World and the console. So it's like you need Nintendo Switch Online. All these things that up. So like I feel like all said and done, you're paying $1,000 for a new Switch console in 2025.
Easy, yeah,
easy. Who has $1,000 to just throw away? I know. I didn't like doing that when we had to buy the Pros for in January or November. I did it. Obviously, we're different, though. We are built different.
We are certainly built different. I mean, you said it yourself. We're not the average consumer. We do this for work. We do this for, these kinds of conversations and stuff like that. So we do put ourselves in a position where we make sacrifices just to analyze and look at these pieces of hardware.
Case in point, like today, on Sunday, I bought a brand new laptop because I was like, well, if tariffs are coming, I'm just going to buy it now because I don't know. I don't know what it's going to cost me then, because I ended up still spending a lot of money. It's like, okay, well, rather now than when it's $3,000 to $4,000 for the laptop that costs half of that now. So yeah, the situation, it's very frustrating as a consumer, more so as someone like you or me that were in the industry, that we have our little small corner, and we're still seeing like fallout from these bad decisions at every level. Like we see it at the consumer level, we see it at the media level, we see it from both sides, and it's like, this is frustrating. And it's just like, I wish that things were a little bit different between the US and Canada, and we weren't so reliant on them, because like this could have all been just swept under the rug. But like, well, no, we're Nintendo of Canada. Don't worry about what's happening in the States. We got you covered. Like just pre-orders at this day, launches this day. You can get one in day one at your favorite retailer. That's it.
If we were more siloed in terms of the supply chain and stuff like that, but
and that's the problem. Like I feel like, well, I don't feel anything that's likely bought here comes up through the States, so it has to pass the border. So it's like, if there was like a way to stockpile them and somewhere in the GTA, just have a factory, like just drop ship them from there, whatever you want to do. But like, make it easier for yourself. Don't be like the US where everything needs to get exported and imported and you know, just appease your customers. Like these are the people who are paying your salary. It's just do them a solid. Do them a solid. Support your clientele. I feel
Yeah,
it's a rambling. I understand, but it's a weird subject. I'm annoyed. I'm just like I just this whole back and forth thing is ruining a lot of stuff for people.
yeah,
Whether
it sure
it's
is.
vacationing or you know buying something you want or eating something you want, there's some kind of stupid leverage behind it now. It's like this is stupid. Just let people enjoy their lives and stop like using people's you know daily life to just to, as a leverage to you know fulfill your propaganda.
Absolutely. Well, we will keep an eye out on Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders and the status on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, we're going to do a whole bunch of like retrospective things, and we're going to go hands on with the hardware itself and talk about that in the
Oh yeah,
future.
100%.
So, um,
I'm fully excited. Like I hope that doesn't come across as like I'm jaded. I'm excited
oh, of course.
to you know summarize the last 8 years, 7 years of the Switch, and then finally get to play the Switch 2. And
Hallelujah.
yeah, like I'm down. Like I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like I am so ready for more Switch goodness because like I love mine. I use it to this day every day. Like, I have it charging right now because I've been playing Xenoblade. So yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, good. Bobby, I want to throw it back to you because I want to hear all about Blueprints, a game that I'm hearing nothing but acclaim, like the highest acclaim for this game.
Yeah.
I have it installed on my Xbox and I'm going to start playing it today, but I want to hear your top level thoughts. I want to know, is it the masterpiece that people are saying it is? Is it game of the year, game of the century? Some are calling it.
Well,
What are your thoughts?
yeah. So I mean, I there are comparisons to like a mix of like the Outer Wilds with like the Obra Dinn, and I feel like that is a good comparison. So this is definitely a Steve ass game if you like puzzle games,
Oh, here we go.
that's the way to do it, right? But yeah, like it is definitely one of the best puzzle games I played this year.
Really?
It came out of nowhere. Like I've had
Yeah.
about a month with it, and then you know a code came across my mailbox. I'm like, okay.
Mm.
I saw an innocuous tweet or post, if whatever Bluesky calls them, and it was like, you know, I can't wait to talk about this amazing game that I'm playing. And then, you know, a month later, we're all talking about Blueprints. It is definitely in the vein of like, you know, like I said, Outer Wilds, Obra Dinn. If you like, what was the other one I did? The case of the Golden Idol.
Yep.
But the premise is pretty simple. I do like that. So you know, you play this young man, young boy, and you get this note saying like if you can, you know, open the 46th door to this Mount Holly Manor, it's yours to keep. But
Cool.
the cool thing, yeah, it's a very basic premise, but what makes this really cool is it's a roguelike puzzle game. So like you have
Interesting.
every day you have 50 steps. It's 50 steps to you know get to that last room. Every step is basically in real time. So you're walking through a room. You have to walk through a bunch of rooms to basically get there. So you're drafting rooms. So you enter through a foyer in the first room. It might have something like you could have like a gem room which you could use to unlock special items a little bit farther down. Or another room is a place where you can rest. You can walk into it. You can draft like a bedroom, and that's where you can heal/sleep to earn more steps to basically you
Mm.
know walk a little farther. So there's
Okay.
that's the roguelike stuff. But there's also red rooms where you walk into the round room and there's like negative effects. So like every room, like I said, it's drafted by you, but it could be one of like three different things. And then you have to worry about room door placement. So you have to make sure that the rooms are connecting to the other one to get further down into the manor. And every room's it's like I said, it's a puzzle in itself. So like you have like little notes that you want to read because it tells you more backstory about the manor and the people that were there. And like there's like keys you find that open doors further down. So it's
Yep.
always trying to figure out, you know, how these rooms are connecting and like what you can do to get to that 46th room. Because like I said, once you get to that 46th room, this place is yours to keep. And why I like the roguelike elements is like I've had no playthrough that was the same. So like I've had really good playthroughs where I got really close to that final door. I was, earning coins. I was unlocking keys. I was
Mhm.
finding puzzle pieces, and like I was drafting. I had to like use my iPad to actually, write down things I was doing in the room. Like I was saying, this puzzle's trying to ask me to do this, but I don't know how to solve it. So you would walk down 3 or 4 different rooms, and you would get the answer for that puzzle in that other room, and you'd have to, kind of like piece together all these different rooms and how the puzzle pieces
Interesting.
fit between all the rooms. It's a really unique game. There's nothing like it out there. But
So a
like,
couple questions I have just right off rip here. In terms of like the puzzle difficulty, you mentioned, Outer Wilds and the Idol, and is it like that, or is it kind of like The Witness, where I'm just going to be like, you get 2 hours in, and you're like, these puzzles too much for me. I'm going on YouTube.
um, it depends on the person you are. If you have the patience, you can probably solve them. But yeah, I mean, there were a couple later on that really stumped me. There
Okay.
are some people that also reviewed it that I was just, Discord messaging them. I'm like, hey, like, did you get this? Did you get this room? Did you get this solution? Did you find this? And
Yeah.
much to my surprise, they got the answer, but not the way I figured it out. And
Interesting.
that's where the other thing is. It comes in. It's like there's multiple ways to solve puzzles. So like that's why I like this game, because it's not just like you walk into a room and there's only one solution. You'll find like 3 or 4 different ways to solve it later on. You just have to come back to it. Like you can leave a room, you can go to the next one, and you keep drafting rooms, right? But the whole premise is you only have 50 steps per day until you basically start fresh, right?
So okay, this is my other question. So okay, so you get your 50 steps, you've say built up 3 rooms or whatever. You get stuck
Yeah.
on that last room. Is the loop here, hey, I'm just going to get stuck here, and then by the end of it, all of it goes away anyways? Like you can't progress? Like when you reset, are those rooms that you completed still there? Are you still like how are you progressing towards that end room?
Oh, so like okay, so what you're saying is basically, if you're doing this, does it like carry over to the next run?
Yeah. Like what did the runs look like? Like what carries over? How are you progressing?
So it depends on like how you look at it. Like there are a couple things I want to make note first. Like the first thing is like the steps thing is not the total deterrence, because you can actually find permanent upgrades later on. So
Okay.
you do get more steps. You can do a couple other things that I don't want to spoil, just because like there are
Sure.
really cool to find them, but
Okay.
progress is a little bit different. So it's like, how do you describe it? It's just like trying to describe it in a way that doesn't spoil it, because that's kind of what it is, and that's kind of the main
Oh,
thing about it. And if
well,
you
I
look at
mean,
other
yeah,
reviews, it's like,
if it's better not to know, then that's fine too. I'm just curious.
so no, it's very much RNG,
Got it.
and that's the kind of thing. But I do like how it is tied into it, because most of the time, like, you do have good runs, but there are a couple where you'll get really bad runs and you have to kind of start over. So like nothing
Sure.
does really carry over in that sense.
And then the other question I was gonna ask is like in the early stages, without permanent upgrades, increasing your number of steps and everything, how long does a run usually take?
I think I spent about. It depends on the player again, because like some people, they'll go into a room, they'll kind of take a quick look, they'll grab whatever's there and then move
Mhm.
on. But like I spent like time combing over everything, so uh half hour for a
Interesting.
good run, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
Hour if you really want to push it, and literally just like go through everything. But like it just, like I said, it depends on the player. Some people, like I said, like I know some people who did runs in like 15 minutes to 10
Sure.
minutes. They just, didn't really care. But if you really want to get the full experience, because you're right, like I said, you're writing notes down, you're doing,
Yeah.
uh, you're literally piecing together this mystery.
Cool. I'm
It's definitely something. I mean, it's, and the kicker is like it's free on PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. So like
Yep.
if you're subscribed, like it is something I fully recommend you pick up. Like right now, there is a little bit of a lull between the next big release, but like this is such a unique game. Um, I have nothing bad to say about it. It really is really cool. Like what this developer has done. It is so intricately thought out. It is meticulously planned, and it's executed so almost perfectly that it's just like you should be missing this game. It really
Yep.
is. And I hate saying talk the year game of the year contender, but like it will be in that running. It is a really unique puzzle game. Like there's nothing out there like that. Like any comparisons don't do any justice. Like that's just kind of like a starting point of what it kind of plays like.
Yep. Well, I mean, you're not alone in saying that. A lot of people have been, praising it for being a game of the year contender, as well as, just a flat out noteworthy game of all time. And this does come from Dogu Bomb, a film and game developer. This is their first game, as far as I'm aware. So we're getting a lot of, Balatro vibes here. We're getting a lot of, standout small indie games just making a huge name for themselves early on in the year, which I love. I love the fact that, a game like Blueprints can stand out as
Yeah,
much as it has.
and it like I said, there's a lot to it. Like there's over 100 rooms you can experience. Like I think I
Crazy.
found maybe I definitely found like over half of them because there's just so much. And like there are times where I would just kind of dilly dally and waste time and just try and see what comes next without really trying to reach the end.
Yeah,
But like there's rooms like you can basically like store all your items in this room. You can basically like there's security rooms that you can like unlock to do stuff further down the room. Like there's um all kinds of room. Like basically there's like a pool room, there's a boiler room, there's so many things you could do. And it's like, yeah, okay. There's a lot to do. It is overwhelming, but like it's not daunting.
sure. No, that's good. That's good to hear. And there's no combat or anything. It's just a puzzle game, right?
It's strictly puzzle. And
Love that.
yeah, no, it's basically just, in your own time. Like you don't really want to, you know, do a lot of
Rush it.
backtracking. You don't
Yeah,
want to basically waste steps going backwards because you backtrack that basically counting your steps.
sure.
There's a lot of things, right? And yeah, so like I said, the puzzles do get a little bit harder, but like they're not overbearing. Um they're not disrespectful of your time. They're actually well thought out, and like they adapt to what your pace. I feel depending on how you're playing, right? Because it's like you're doing this. If you don't want to do this, I mean, obviously, you either keep moving, you move backward, you move to another room. But like that's just stuff. They're all alternatives when you get stuck.
Cool. I'm stoked to check this out. This is a game now that I have a free slate of games off my shoulders that I'm just gonna put some time into. I hope I like it as much as everyone else has been, because I do like a good puzzle game, but it toes the line between if this is going to be like an Outer Wilds where it's like exploration, self-discovery, and stuff like that, or if it's going to be more of the Witness where at a certain point I just accept I am not smart enough for this and I'm going online to figure out solutions and just kind of brute force my way through this game. We'll see. But
Yeah,
I'm down for grabbing a pen and a piece of paper and start writing down solutions. I love that stuff. It's been far too long since I played a game that encourages me to do that.
yeah, and it's the best alternative if you don't feel the blueprints is Lorelei and the Laser Eye. Like that came out last year, and that was another
That's
game
right.
where I had to review it. I was basically just like swapping notes with other people last year, and like
Yeah.
those are the kind of games like we rarely see these days, and it's like cool, put more of these out because like I having so many AAA open world games, like I feel like it's a perfect palate cleanser. Like this is something that is fully focused on challenging your brain to do something different than combat or
Yeah.
climbing buildings and whatnot.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, awesome. For me, the only thing I have been playing recently, I decided to do a little bit of homework ahead of this week because The Last of Us season 2 is premiering on HBO, and I thought to myself, you know what? I haven't played in quite some time. The
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2. So I decided to do some homework, refresh myself on the story. Although, I mean, granted, it came out in 2020. I haven't, while I've played it, well, I played a lot of it when it came out on the remaster on PlayStation 5. And then most recently, I checked in a little bit when it came to PC as well. I was like, okay, I'm going to do like a start to finish
Yeah.
playthrough. What I decided to, because I was like, you know what, back in the day, I played it, loved it, had a ton of fun, even though it was super depressing. I never got the platinum, and
Yeah.
then it came to PlayStation 5, and I was like, great, I'm gonna do a platinum run, and I only played until like midway through Seattle one, day one, and I was like, cool, I know how it's running. I'm more interested in the roguelike mode, and I invested so many hours into that. Again, never got the platinum. Here, I was like, okay, I'm finally going to do it. I'm finally going to start my run. All I need to do is just grab the collectibles. So I started that. I started playing on the PlayStation 4 version. That way I could upload my save to the PlayStation 5 version afterwards. And then boom, we're popping two platies, right? One after another. Great stuff. What I didn't realize, though, was that in order to get the platinum, in Last of Us Part 2, you have to do New Game Plus because you cannot get all
Yep.
the supplements and all the weapon parts. So I got way too far into my playthrough before realizing that. I was like, God damn it.
That's why
So
I dropped out. That's why I dropped that out the original times. I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity to play this game twice back to back. And
back to back, exactly. And I wish I remembered that, because I do remember, yeah, just boot up New Game Plus and you would have been off to the races. But no, I restarted it. And yeah, so I got all the collectibles, or the trophies for the collectibles. That's all done. Now I just have to once again do another replay at some point. Maybe when it comes to PlayStation 6, when they do a remaster, then I'll do my final platinum run. But that being said, I really enjoy this game. I know it's very divisive. I know a lot of people don't like this game for XY reasons and stuff like that. Coming back to it, I think that replaying it, everything I had an issue with in terms of the pacing was
yeah,
improved now that I have the expectation, because I will never forget. And I'm trying to, because I know a lot of people might not have played this game and come into this, anticipating The Last of Us season 2. So I'm going to refrain from doing any spoilers, even though it is a 5-year-old game. That
no,
being said, there is a moment halfway through the game where the dynamics of the game really change, if that makes sense. If you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, midway.
Midway. There was a midway point of this game where I was like, oh, all the momentum of the story felt like it was lost on me throughout my first playthrough. This time around, I really did appreciate that a lot more, and I thought that it flowed a lot better because I knew exactly what was coming. And I had that expectation set of like, okay, we're going to reach this point, get more story, way more story, and then we're going to have that epilogue as well. But I still want to give props to Naughty Dog for its storytelling. I think it's a very strong. I prefer part 2 over part 1 because I love the revenge
No,
tale. I love the
100%.
characterizations that they're doing in this game, and yeah, the brutal nature of it. I really think that in terms of putting the player's hands on the controller, making these very violent and brutalistic gameplay choices in the combat is very impactful. I mean, it's not easily digestible. We're talking, just about, turning your brain off and playing a shooter or something like that moments ago. But this is not like turn your brain off. It's not, popcorn. It's not blockbuster, a popcorn flick. It's like, oh, this is super deep tones of
No,
what it means to lose like people in your lives, what it's like to seek revenge and the sacrifice that you're going to go through and stuff like that. Like it's heavy.
it's super heavy, and that's why I prefer it to the first one. I mean, don't get me wrong, and I know you're on the same page. Like the first one is great.
Of
It
course.
is really, really a personal story that really, introduced some really memorable characters. But
Yep.
part 2 is just like on another level. Like it introduces real people like, with real problems and real repercussions. It's not just like how the first one was like a little adventure through
Yeah.
this apocalyptic version of the U.S. This one's not only that, but it's like it's a revenge tale. It's
a character study of
it's a character study. There's a
two
little bit of love
dynamically
story.
opposed
Like, it's
people.
everything. Like your stakes are real. Like Ellie's fighting for some real stuff. Abby's coming for some real stuff. Like this isn't. Yeah, the first game is a good stepping stone to what like the true story is. Like you get so many cool characters. Like you not only get like two sides of the same coin. You get a third cult like entity that shows up, and it's like I love what they did with that. Like, and then you get the WLF, and like you get like this. These people who are in the they're in the shit together, and it's just like, okay, these guys are doing this, they're fighting these guys all the while, they're also dealing with stuff like what Ellie sees later on and what Abby sees later or whatever, and we don't have to talk about it, but like it's just like everything is just up to 10. Let's put it that way. It's up to 10. Like all the stakes are up to 10 compared to like the first game. And like that's just it's hard to replicate that. It's hard to play it though.
That's is.
And doing the remaster I think it was last year. Last year was just like it was great to go back to, but like man, you get to certain points in that game and it's just like if you have anxiety, you're gonna get a panic attack playing this game.
It's really tough. I agree, and especially like even knowing what was going to happen, there were moments in this game where I was like, "Ooh, okay,
hard to watch.
I'm ready for this, but here we go," and then you just power through it.
It's hard, yeah. You have to power through, but it's just really hard to like get to that mindset because you have to go to a dark place if you have to play this game.
Definitely. It's not, like my annual replays of Halo 2 and you're just having a bunch of fun, stepping into the shoes of Master Chief. This is like
you're going out on a mission and you're there to hurt people and like you have to be prepared to do it because like some of those personal 101 scenes get like we said, get really dark, they get really heavy, and like you're witnessing them like die in real time.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a sense of agency when you're the one controlling it, and doing these actions and stuff like that. And a game like this doesn't really come around all that much.
No, there has been nothing like it.
I was just about to say, yeah, there hasn't been anything since, and I really don't want there to be to this regard, only because then I think it disqualifies the impact that this game kind of has. I mean, it's a very meaningful choice to make a game like this, to make it so brutal, to make it so to put so much of an emphasis on this is a character study based on a revenge tale of two people, and not everything is black and white, everything is kind of gray, and we're gonna peel back the layers on it. And I know it's not perfect, it's not a perfect game. I know I hear everyone's issues with it, and I have my own issues with it as well, in terms of like its radical pacing. I think that it does meander a little bit in terms of its length and stuff like that, although I do appreciate it a little bit more the second time around. But that being said, I think it does fringe on whether or not it overstates its welcome in some respect. But yeah, I just thought that going back, replaying it before The Last of Us The Last of Us Season 2 would have been beneficial, because I did, even though I remembered a whole bunch of like the overarching themes and the moment to moment, it was more or less like I really wanted to pay attention to the dialogue this time around. I want to see how it compares to the show when it starts coming out in an episodic base. I want to know what they're going to end up adding, what they're going to take away, what they're going to restructure for the show as well. It's also worth noting that this week they announced that there is going to be a season 3. To no surprise, I mean, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin have been very vocal of like this. We have a structure that we want, and for people who know Last of Us Part 2, I think that there is an obvious trajectory of how these seasons are going to go. So I'm excited to watch week to week. I'm excited to see exactly what they end up doing with the series, how they're going to change things up, how they're going to remix different moments. Because Last of Us Season 1 was pretty one-to-one. I mean, there wasn't a whole bunch cut. There wasn't any like huge moments that were taken away from the series. I mean, I would say that the most obvious impactful creative choice was the Frank Bill and Frank episode, was divulging more of these two characters' relationships that are just basically glossed over in the game, and that ended up being arguably the best episode of the entire season. So I'm very interested to see what sort of creative differences they make for season 2 now.
Yeah, like I if they keep most of it intact, I would be okay with less, fight scenes or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I know that, people do like those. I'm fine either way because, like, really, at the end of the day, it's a character study. It's about these people dealing with this situation and everything else around that. So it's like, that's fine. If we get a couple less, shootouts or whatever, give me more character studies. Give me another episode with, like, a life in the day of Tommy. Give me an episode of Dina, how she, what she was doing the day she met Ellie,
Sure.
or Jesse, or on the flip side, like, I know for sure, maybe not this season, we'll get episodes of Abby's journey, and, like, we're definitely getting an episode of that relationship that she has.
Absolutely, yep.
And it's gonna hurt people. It's gonna literally hurt people. I feel like we're gonna get an episode that matches that Frank episode.
I hope so. I do want them to do more siloed off like character episodes, because that was very much a strong suit.
Definitely, it's gonna happen. It's just like, the first season. I think do we know it's covering the first half of the game? Is that what they've confirmed?
Not confirmed, but I think that's a good guess. I would assume. Like, I put up a post the other day. I was like, if they're smart, you do season 1, season 2, season 3 as, the collective Seattle arc. Yeah. And then season 4 you do the epilogue. And that gets you a lot of runway to then pad out time for Naughty Dog to get Intergalactic out there and then start working on and releasing part 3 before, you have to worry about the show catching up to where the game is.
So the first half, I'm not a big fan of the first half. That's fine. It has some obvious obvious reasons why. You'll obviously say you haven't played it yet, but after that, it's just all set up. It's just exposition and, like, things that you need to know before, like, the actual journey kicks off. And, like, that's fine. You have to get through that to get to the good stuff, because it only really picks up for me, I feel like, once they get to Seattle. So that's kind of where the heart of this game is. It's in Seattle. So
it is.
Whenever we get there, right, it's going to take some time, but that's fine. And I can see some reviews are mixed. Like, I'm seeing some people who don't like it as much as the first season, people who prefer it more than the first season. So, like, I'm curious to see, because, like, this is exactly what happened with the second game. Either other people either really loved it or they hated it.
That's right.
So it's imitating exactly the same trajectory the second game had. So
I'm very excited to talk to people who have not played the game, 100%. And hear what people's thoughts are going to be, based on specific moments and specific, characterizations and stuff like that. I'm very interested, because I feel like this season more than any has there's a possibility that it could be quite divisive. I mean, it's definitely going to break some hearts for a lot of people, and I'm interested to see how people take it. I hope that people can just be cool about it.
But I feel like people, like, television, telephiles, whatever. I don't know if there's a name for them. People who watch TV.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're gamers. Gamers are a weird bunch. Like, they're very toxic. So I don't know. I don't see the same, like, I don't know. What do you want to call it? Do you want to call it like a temper tantrum or like a meltdown or whatever you want to call it?
You can call it a temper tantrum. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like TV viewers have the same level of tantrum in them as gamers do, because gamers, like, you don't blow right on the cartridge and they freak out. You scratch, their controller, they freak out. You get a fingerprint on their discs, they freak out. They have meltdowns.
Very true.
So I don't know. I feel like there are going to be more nuanced conversations. You're going to see some really good articles going up and discussions happening, and, like, I want to talk about it. So I'm excited to see how it compares
Yeah.
I'm not ready for it, so I'm bracing myself now. I don't know how fast it's going to take to get to that moment, but when we get to that moment, I have to be ready for it. So like I will have to redo that scene this weekend probably,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
get ready.
That's it. Yeah, we'll probably talk about it more on the show as the episodes come out and stuff like that. Maybe do a little temperature check in terms of how we're feeling about the series as it goes on. But yeah, that's about it. We appreciate you all for tuning in to this episode. Like I said, we're gonna have so much more this whole month leading
Yeah.
into the inevitable, the long-awaited release of the Switch 2. So that's around the corner. A lot of other fun stuff down the bend as well. SGF is on its way. Xbox Game Showcase, a whole bunch of summer
Oh,
goodness.
yeah.
So
That one I'm excited about this year because last year was like
last year was a banger.
insanely good. Like
Yeah,
having and we can talk about that just for a couple of seconds. But like
of
I just
course.
remember, you know what, last year was so cool. Like I remember we all showed up to that
Yeah,
theater and the energy was insane. Like
it
I
was.
honestly haven't felt that kind of energy in like at least 10 years from like an event.
It was a 10 out of 10 event. 10 out of 10 event, especially
I'm
from
looking forward
Microsoft
to
as
the year.
well. So looking forward to that as well. Seeing more of the Outer Worlds 2. That's going to be a lot of fun from Obsidian.
Ooh, yeah.
I do like the illusion of confirmation that it is coming out this year. So that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to hear more from that. But yeah, we appreciate you all for tuning in. Bobby, where can people keep up with you, the website, and everything else?
Yeah, consolecreatures.com, B Pashulitis. Check us out on Bluesky, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever else you're on socials. I mean, we're on TikTok. We're publishing some stuff on there. We just pushed some stuff out for the Switch Direct last week. We have some of our Assassin's Creed Shadows reviews up.
Yep.
We've got more stuff coming up.
Amazing. And as for me, you can find me across the internet at Asvikvari. Appreciate you all for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.